Welcome to a very special episode of the LCS Report slash crossover podcast. We got the crossover podcast crew with us here, David ShyKnock and Paul Green the fourth. Um, I'm very happy to know that. Every time I see it, I'm like, "What? You're the fourth with your name?"
Yeah.
So thank you guys for joining us. As usual, hit that subscribe button. We'll have the links to their stuff too if you guys want to check it out. Their crossover podcast crosses over everything. So if you're interested in League and every random other thing in the world, they talk about it. It is pretty fun. I learned a lot about college football, more than I care to admit. But let's just get right into it and talk about League of Legends. The LCS, we have most of the rosters reported besides Dignitas. So I'll actually let our guest start with his team in 100 Thieves. David, what's 100 Thieves roster looking like? Oh,
That's
yeah, I
it.
forgot about that.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah,
They're out. Sorry, I had to do it. But yeah, do you have any specific roster you're excited about? I know you were talking about. I'll let you talk about Cloud9. I know Marn's the Cloud9 expert, but you talk about Cloud9 being an upgrade or like they won the offseason. I was like, no, they didn't.
Oh,
so let's.
well, okay, no. We're putting words in my mouth here, okay? I have never once said that the C9 roster is an upgrade. I've never said that. I said that I am excited to watch C9 play because I like APA as an individual. I think Dom coming in person is going to be a big plus for them. Anero being head coach instead of Reaper, like I know my opinion on Reaper had soured over the last few years. So I'm happy to see Anero get the reins on that. So I'm genuinely excited to see what C9 can do before they inevitably implode in summer. It's going to be a fun watch. And then besides that, I mean, you got to look at FlyQuest at this point. Like, I know they're not going to be the presumed favorites, but this squad is young. They are hopefully hungry. If they play like 100 Thieves, where it's just like, screw it, we're going to hands check you at a moment's notice, this squad's going to be entertaining to watch. All with ThinkHard as head coach as well. And we know his history with making squads work that you either wouldn't think would work or just going down south and making CB LOL teams work. Like, yeah, I like what FlyQuest is cooking. Also, he has great taste in rave music, so I genuinely appreciate that.
FlyQuest have no leader. That's what I'm very confused about. They have no like captain on this team, and that was something that, in general, whenever they built projects, they made sure they had some level of leadership. So I'm not too excited about FlyQuest because it's going to take a while to develop that.
If there's one thing we have learned all year, Marn, correct me if I'm wrong on this. Would you or would you not like let it build over the course of the year and see a crescendo at the end, then play well at the beginning?
Yeah, like at the end of the day, it's all about like getting to your end goal. It's not how like you start, it's how you finish. And I've been finally waiting for a roster that actually can test esports fandom's patience, because normally like people are going to be coming in expecting this like young 18-year-old squad to win it all like immediately, and like that is just not the case. They may finish like 5th or 6th, like, but where they are at the end of the season, that's where I'm going to be interested in.
I think it's going to take 2 years before they're even in the top 4 consideration. But dude, you have
Wow.
3 rookies, right? Like obviously what's his name? Griffin played for a split on Loud. But like he is not in any way, shape, or form a leader. Gakkos is not a leader, and they're bringing in a support that up until now no one had heard of Cryogen, right? So it's like Cryogen's not going to become a Busio or inspired level of like leadership. Gakkos is not a Bwipo. Like teams require like this pecking order. And who do you have as your 2 main like experienced players? The 2 most quiet players out there. In Quad
Did you
and
think did you think that 100 Thieves was making Worlds in 2024 with a rookie sniper and like first full rookie year Quid?
They had River. They had a leader.
I don't know if I can. I'd say Ayla was more the leader of that team. I will
No,
give you that.
if you remember back to their vlogs, they were clearly talking about how River was their engage, and they struggled in summer because champs like Zyra and Brand, where River could not be the engage and the go button, made them struggle a lot. But it was
okay.
very
Let me
much
correct
River.
myself. In game, obviously, yes, it was River. I will give you. I mean more like outside of that, because the rumors of what we heard of like scrim performance and like the off the rift intangibles that make you a leader beyond just playing in the game is where I think Ayla, at least in my opinion, stepped up. But I get your point on like in the game. I'm not going to contest that point.
Yeah.
That River obviously was the guy.
I think.
So I just don't think FlyQuest have that. Sorry, go ahead. I know me and him are just going back and forth.
I think the one thing I'm excited for, if they go this direction, is like classic rule of parenting: let kids be kids. And I want them to just let them be kids, like be 18-year-olds playing in tier 1, not giving a fuck, being disrespectful, playing in your face, being aggressive. If you try and turn them into these like mature players that need to be disciplined, I'm sorry, then they're probably finishing lower in the league
Sniper?
because like like kind of like that, yeah. Like I think you just have to let them be themselves, let them have their own, like find their own personality, see what works. And like one of the things I always remember is like remember like the 2017 Rift Rivals where it was like Caps' like debut, and we had like the Impact Jensen roster, and Jensen bitch slapped Caps when he played the Blanc into I think Nivea actually, and it was like I felt like you're going to the veterans are going to beat you up, but it's like you take your licks now and you will eventually come and beat them later on, and I think like that's what you just have to let this FlyQuest roster like mold into.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about Cryogen because I don't think it's like everyone keeps comparing it to Double Lift in Biofrost and saying that you can do that kind of thing, but I don't really think Masu is like Double Lift level to take a guy and push him to that point. And I really have no clue about Cryogen. I don't think really anybody does. He doesn't really have many games against like people that you could actually kind of break down how good he is. So you're kind of just taking their word for it, I guess. But I think Card's earned the benefit of the doubt for me to take his word. I'm just a little curious.
I just think they didn't have a better choice. Like the top 3 supports in Busio, right? Busio left, and then you have Core. He's on Team Liquid, and then you had Vulcan. And he's staying on Cloud9. Honestly, Seus was even better than Core that last split, and Seus is staying. So like your top 4 supports are not options. What are you gonna do? Who are you gonna pick up? You're gonna pick up like Huhi? Like
Ayla was the top 2 support, by the way, and is still teamless at the moment. So I'm just throwing that out.
Ayla's teamless? I forgot about Ayla.
Yeah, he was better than Core this past year.
Yeah, how do you not pick up Ayla? Hold up, FlyQuest. How do you not pick up Ayla?
He might not fit.
I might
like,
just think he's bad.
Good.
And like you're not going to like I understand players looking at Dig and like, nah, that ain't for me.
I mean, Dokla literally said he had an offer from Dig and said no.
I don't get the people that are freaking out about Dokla. I get, but I mean, people saying like, "Oh, he turned down an offer. He doesn't want to win." I'm happy that Jonathan gets to build a roster over at Dignitas. Like, I love Jonathan, but that doesn't mean magically that it's like, oh, hey, all's fixed.
Yep.
All's fine. Especially when Bakery is still at Dig. Like, to be very clear, and I know Bakery looms in chat, both in mine and beyond. So, dude, don't take it too personally, but kind of take it personally. Like, that history doesn't just go away. And if you're Dokla and you're looking at this, like, why would you commit yourself to Dig for a 1-year contract when, if anything happens to the top 5 and they're close to making Worlds and they just want to bring them in and plug them in again, it's going to be better for them by a wide margin. Now, there's a risk that doesn't happen, obviously, but...
And maybe he doesn't like Jonathan.
Gone.
Like, he played with Jonathan before, or like he worked with Jonathan before. Maybe he's like not too big of a fan.
It's just disappointing that you could have actually made a legit like you could have added to this what's meant to be like a 4 or 5 team core already. Like if you had Dokla and FBI Ayla, that's like a really good starting piece for like it's just unfortunate it's Dig at the end of the day.
I'm more surprised at not DSG, Sentinels for not going that route.
Well, I can understand the
They're
DSG
going
roster in
budget.
some ways because you can make the argument they was scaling at the end, but like we can move on to Sentinels actually because they Rob Moore really pissed me off like immediately before you even signed a player saying this scene's deader than NACS. It's like, do you know how dead NACS is? like we're not.
Did they just have another team leave?
Yeah, they left Marvel Rivals like recently.
No, I mean, like, didn't NACS just lose one of its big teams?
I think it actually gained 100 Thieves.
Okay. Well, are 100 Thieves using an NA roster, or are they going international with their roster? Because there's a big distinction in CS where you can be a North American org, but be fielding an entirely like European team or entirely like different region team, despite you being like an NA org. I mean, like, are they supporting NACS
Let
specifically?
me look at their roster. At the moment, their only confirmation is Rain. But you need
He's not American, is he?
No, he's Norwegian. But
He's
you need
European.
like
Yeah.
I think their rules are harder than what we do in like importing. Like you actually have to have like 3 North American players. That's why
To qualify for
yeah.
like that region's.
TL did some like weird thing, but they still like played in the NA scene with like NA players. But as for like their roster, based on what he said, I'm not surprised that this is what they've ended up with. It's just I'm actually impressed they've done a worse job than when I thought like Shopify did like a pretty poor job coming into the league. Like I think they're doing better now, but I think Shopify were like not that great for coming into the league, and I think Sentinels is just blown that out of the water with. Firstly, this scene's dead. Secondly, we have no money, and we've spent all of it on our Valorant roster that may or may not be good anyways.
Who was
Yeah,
the
so
original
they picked
Shopify
up-
roster?
Our first was the Fake God. Fake God Boogie.
Like the TSM, I think, like roster won it.
Well, kinda. It was the Cloud9 challenge. It was the team that won NACL with DSG multiple times. Like they won with Cloud9 and they won with DSG, and then Shopify picked up Fake God Zazel and Bvoy. They brought in Bvoy, and then they brought in Boogie from TSM and Insanity from TSM and Brevin from TSM. So it was a mix.
Okay. It's not. I say it's better than this.
Are you sure? Like they brought in Golden Glue, right, from 100 Thieves, Sentinels. Then they brought in no 100 Thieves players, which I found surprising, but they brought in Rahel, who I thought was a really good AD carry. They brought in Huhi, and they brought in Darkwings.
I guess it'll depend on how they round it out. Because Darkwings excites me a little bit. Huhi not as much, even though I understand that Huhi like has a role to fill within whatever team he's on. Like it is a very specific condition that you are bringing Huhi in for, and with Rahel, obviously that helps. But I got to see who they finish it out top jungle before I really pass full judgment on it. Because I still think there's things that you can do even with a budget roster that make it fun and exciting to watch and content focused, per Rob's words on the dive. But we'll see.
We have
can
a
they even
special
go
guest
get?
in chat.
Oh, David Hahn.
Oh.
No pressure,
Uh,
Cloud and Paul. No pressure.
No pressure.
Camille
Why?
has his-
We'll talk about Cloud9 sucking later. That's fine.
Yeah, there ain't really pressure when you're talking about bum orgs doing bum things. It is what it is.
The other team I actually wanted to touch up upon is Team Liquid. Team Liquid pick up Quid. They won the bidding war for Quid. It's awesome. We think this roster is going to be incredible. And then they pick up 2 players that I don't think anyone really wanted expected in Morgan and Jose Diodo. Paul, I'll go to you because like we've just been talking over you. What do you think?
No,
of this
you
roster?
can't. I don't like these moves at all, but a lot of people are sitting there going like, "Oh, this is totally fine." They've shown me all these clips of Morgan in our discords. People have posted whole dang near paragraphical articles about how good this guy is going to be. And I'm like, "Brother, he's another 8th place LCK import coming in. He's going to be mid, and that's okay." Like he's probably going to get beat by our tops. I mean, he's lucky though, to be honest, that for some reason teams just didn't sign the good ones. The only 2 left really is Fudge and Thanatos because we just let Bwipo walk for free. I know Bwipo had his other problems, but I think he'd be better than Morgan. And they were like, nah, we're just going to go this route. We're locking in really hard on this. And then Jose Diodo, I've always thought he's just okay. I don't really think he's that good. I don't think he's that bad. Maybe with this kind of roster, they can kind of carry him. That's kind of what I'm thinking, but I think he needs you to int almost to his level, and I don't know if Core JJ is gonna play the game that way.
I'm gonna make 2 comments and then throw it to you, Marn.
Okay.
One, with Morgan, they could have they were between Morgan and Castle, and I feel like you just pick Castle like every day of the week. And then for the jungle, wasn't Audi just like playing insanely out of his mind? Like literally last split, we saw how good this guy was, and we were all like, "Oh man, it really sucks that his team is just like throwing the game."
I ain't
Dude,
feeling that.
that series that he was playing, he was completely smurfing.
You need like an entire package though. Like I'm not like picking up players on like a couple of like good, like a few good performances.
No. Audi had a good year. Like, yes, his team didn't do well, but if you look at how Audi was playing, he played well. And then the other thing is like, Audi had a better year than Jose. Like, maybe not in placements, but in terms of actual performance, like,
That'll give you. Yeah.
Yeah, that story about like throwing like Morgan's tapes in like Discord is like when you ever like a sports fandom where they found that your team's just signed this absolute random kid and you're suddenly watching like all their compilations from like tier 5 and you're trying to hype yourself up saying, yes, this is the one. I know Morgan's a little bit higher up than that, but like it just like really made me chuckle.
Paul, remind me of how that went when you were watching clips of Kaido.
Yeah, there was the fake clips of Knight. Hey, he looks really good in those clips. I ain't gonna lie. Looked like he'd be a top 5 mid in the world. But I mean, Morgan, the thing is, we have tape though. We've seen what he is, and he's just kind of a thing. I mean, he's fine. I think he'll be fine here. He'll probably be. He could be top 4. But I don't know if he's gonna really be top 4. That's the problem. I'm sitting there going like, oh, is the roster gonna carry him? Because at the end of the day, Jan and Quid are good enough. But maybe
I'll
put
throw
that
this to
roster on a
David.
stage. You start bringing a crowd in.
I
That roster ain't winning that thing.
For some reason, I'm not even gonna look at the roster. I'm actually looking at, and for some reason, I was stunned even though I knew this was happening like immediately when Spawn was coming back, and then reminded myself he's actually just going to be remote again. And to be fair, I'm not saying he shouldn't be remote. Like that's his thing, and he needs to do that. And then I remembered, okay, nah, I'm off this TL train. If you're coaching remotely, I'm out. Like you ain't winning shit.
So on the remote coaching thing, do I think it's going to work? No, to be very clear. I don't think remote coaching is the way at all in a sports environment. Like regardless of how good he is, and I get the argument that's being made is like, even if Spawn is handicapped to 80% of his coaching capacity because of the remote side, that 80% is still better than 100% of anybody else. I get that argument. And I also get the leeway that Spawn could be given because his first year in person was phenomenal. His second year remote wasn't great, but you can also, like, there's a choice to be made on whether it's the roster's fault or whether it's his fault. And clearly TL is going with the choice that it was the roster's fault, not his fault. However, you are on the tightest of leashes humanly possible going into this split. Where if the second culture starts dipping because you're losing, because issues pop up, and if you cannot rein it in quickly, like, and you cannot have that same level of impact that you would have in person, like, you almost immediately have to make the call that Spawn moves to GM or whatever other role, and Spooks takes over as head coach, and you bring in a new assistant. You need to be so willing and quick on that trigger the second you see it happen. But if it works, then by all means, we all have to eat our words. But I'm not sold that that's going to be the case entirely.
Here's another thing that I actually wanted to throw your way, David, is if I'm Quid and I'm like, okay, I'm going to sign with Team Liquid. I'm glad I got one of my coaches and I'm playing with Core JJ, right? And Spooks and Core JJ. Rainover leaves, right? And then you bring in a Korean top laner. And if you know anything about Korean pecking order, like he's going to listen to Core JJ, but is he really going to be listening to Spooks, who he's probably never heard of and doesn't know? Like, I feel like if they kept Rainover, the Morgan pickup makes a lot more sense. If I'm Quid and I'm like, yeah, sure, I signed with Team Liquid, you gave me Core JJ, but then like the rest of this roster did.
I don't know. It's one of those where we're in this weird spot as a region where it doesn't feel like the talent is deep enough to really sit here and say that there's a better option. Because I don't think, and even Inspired is great. I completely agree with Steve's logic on this one. I don't think Inspired and Quid would mesh well. like personality wise, it just feels entirely different. Even if Inspired is great and can cater to Quid style, the communication style I feel like would be a problem. Would be a massive, massive problem that would take its toll off the Rift. So if you remove Inspire from that pool, who do you then have that's a realistic option? Now, I would have preferred Yuji, personally. I think he deserves a full year. You know, I'm not the coach. It's not my say, ultimately, on any of that. But I won't sit here and blow smoke up your ass and say that the talent pool's deep enough that, like, I feel great about whoever is going to be playing with Quid. So that kind of was what it was. And as for the Morgan point, I mean, I've been very clear. Give me Dokla. Give me Dokla on this TL roster all fucking day. And I think it's like, even though Morgan is the better player, and I saw your comment on my video about the imports, I think there is a need to prioritize not just replacing players that are arguably top 2 in their role in our region just because a Korean player who is 8th in the LCK is on paper going to be better than Dokla. Because he will be, and I'm not denying that. I'm not delusional before anybody comes at me. It's like, you're really going to sit here and say Dokla's better than Morgan? No, I'm not. I'm saying we have an obligation to play North American players, and they fill a very, very similar role. And that's where I think Dokla would be better. Plus, the blending, as you said, with coaching staff, having spooks, it being a better culture fit, that's where I think Dokla fits in better.
You have Castle right there as well. Like, already established. Like, I know he's an import. He's already an established LCS player. Like, he's been in the system now long enough that he's going to be comfortable. He doesn't need to embed. He's going to be, like, fitting right in immediately. And I've been waiting for him to actually get the shot on a better team than what he is now. Because it felt
I wonder if he signed with DSG before the other. I would love to know the timeline.
He did try us with Team Liquid. I can tell you that much.
Okay, so he did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we know who all tried out with Team Liquid?
I think publicly we know that Morgan and Castle did.
We don't know if Dokla or anybody else did on that. But they could. TL also could have done their tryouts in the off season whenever Dokla was playing at Worlds. So.
I think it's just hard with him because there is also the side of you're bringing in a player who's been a part of losing culture for so long. It's hard to know how he'll react to a culture that has to like lock in and is trying to win actively, and it's a completely different vibe. I mean, than a losing team. A losing team, everyone's a lot more quiet. You're not sitting there, like having those moments where people are telling you to go play better and then you actually go play better. You're having those moments where people go, hey, I need you to step up, bro, and then it just isn't enough every time and you lose anyways. So I'm curious how that plays out for him, because I mean, you lose as much as he has, I think it's nerve-wracking a little bit. Because I mean, his like results, team by team is not the prettiest picture when you're looking at it. Pretty tough, to be honest.
Yeah,
And so's
and,
Jose
like, just
Diota,
to
if I'm being honest.
yeah,
Jose
just to-
has won like one thing.
Yeah, but I feel like Jose is not. He's been on like a winning culture. I feel like he knows the difference between winning and losing. Whereas like Morgan or like a Castle, for example, is not necessarily someone like. Sure, he did well in tier 2, but in tier 1, Castle had finished last, and then on DSG he finished last, and then one non-last finish.
Honestly, somebody just put in the chat, and that's even better for my point. They were like, "You mean like Umpty did? He went from a losing culture to a winning culture, and watch what happened to him. He burnt out
I
like
don't know.
that.
Yeah,
Like
I think the
he
other thing is
won,
Umpty knew
but it
English,
broke
which
him.
is very different. You're moving to a
Yeah.
different country. Like break that extra
Yeah.
level of like, oh, I can't even speak the language to break the losing culture is like.
And Morgan's literally doing all these things the exact same way Umpty did. Like they could win split 1 and then it just fall apart from there.
Hey, he is a
Like this
Kesper
year.
Cup champion. That is a legitimate competition.
True.
He could go back to
My bad.
back. He could go back to back. You never know.
Yeah.
There's no way
What
he
was
goes
their
back.
second championship? TLs? Oh, first stand or whatever.
Yeah,
Qualifying.
yeah.
Okay.
The first split one, yeah. I mean, it's
We're
a
counting
championship.
every-
I'm
Nah,
glad that they
that's
changed
some
it
shit.
to LCK. I'm glad they changed it
counting-
to the not LCK. They
The
changed
lock-in
it to
tournament.
lock in, just like LCK did with LCK Cup.
Yeah,
Like split
'cause, like,
one now.
I mean,
like
I get what people are saying, but come
because
on.
we don't count because TL has never lost a lock-in tournament, by the way. Like, let's just set the
that's true.
historical
Yeah, they won
precedent
both
here.
of them.
TL
Yeah.
has won every single lock-in tournament that exists. They won the first stand qualifier, and now they could win lock-in again. Like, TL could just continue that reputation there, and then shit the bed when it matters most later. You never know.
Yeah. That's true. Lock-in years are not good for Team Liquid. But let's talk about the most important team in Shopify. The one that won the offseason, the one that did what they needed to do. We did bid for Quid. We lost the bid. Whatever, it happens. We got a player who I wasn't as excited about, I'll be honest, as Quid. I thought Quid would have been a better fit than Zinni. I watched some Zinni VODs and I was like, I don't know that this is
He's
like
checked
the
tapes.
player that I'm.
He's watched the
Yeah, I don't know that this
he's
is the
watched
player that I'm like.
compilations. He's watched the
putting-
solo queue VODs.
No, it wasn't compilations. It wasn't compilations. But I was like, I don't know that this is the person I want to put all my eggs into. Yeah, I'll just let you go first, Paul. Like, how do you feel as a Shopify fan picking up Zinni?
I mean, it's kind of both teams I like picked Korean mids who are kind of like unknowns. So I'm excited because they should be good, you would think. But there's also that part of me that's like, oh, I'm gonna have to be really patient because a lot of Korean mids have a tendency to start out really slow, and that's gonna be unfortunate. I was kind of hoping for the Quid so we could get into the win now territory. Granted, I was a little worried about us going Quid, and I'm kind of excited with Zinni because I was very worried about having a Contracts and Quid duo where I could see both of them like in the bright lights having problems. And then I'm really stuck there, even though Contracts is kind of getting out of that, but he still has his moments. And I didn't really fully want that, so I guess this is a little better. But it's hard to really know. Like, I can be excited. I assume we've upgraded. It can't be much worse than Palafox was at the end. No offense to him. I'm glad they were sitting there, like, kind of, what is it called? Not tampering. But they were looking for a mid on a timely schedule, and I think that's good.
Well, they
I mean, I
had
think we
permission
at
to
least found a
talk.
guy.
Like, we had permission to talk with them. Like, there was no tampering done.
Yeah.
Also, Zinni was like,
pro poaching Paul here, trying to mince his words here. Fuck off.
I know, right?
I thought we
Martin,
just
I have a
again.
question for
Poaching.
you. Martin, so with Zinni, one of the things that I noticed in his VODs is he likes to play these unorthodox champions. Like, I think Vel'Koz is a champion he likes to play. He likes to play TF. He likes to play Zoe. He likes to play these unorthodox champions that we know Revan really also likes unorthodox champions. So I feel like that could have actually swayed him in joining Shopify because it's like, oh, this coach really likes playing non-meta. I like playing non-meta.
I'm gonna say
I'll let you go from there. You had a very
Can I be honest?
interesting reaction.
I bet Zinni didn't know who the fuck Revan was until he joined that team. I'm sorry. He didn't know who the fuck. I'm sorry. I love you both. Like, he did not join Shopify because he wanted. He woke up one day and said, "I'm gonna go play for Revan. That's the coach I want to play for." And like, I think Revan's a good coach, by the way. I think he does good with the sum of his parts, but I think Shopify.
Let me just clarify before you go on. I don't think it was because of Revan. I think that's one of the factors. Besides the bag, that
I think that's a
that
factor
like,
why it will work well, not because of why he joined. I think like that's how I would like angle. I think that's why he could work well now that they're in. But if he wants to play Vex, I have a VOD to show you.
Here's my question: is Revan the coach outside of Spawn, obviously, because Spawn's like the one that we all know? Is he the coach in the league that is most on the hot seat right now?
No, because
I think I will dominate those.
Maybe.
And then Revan.
All eyes are going to be on us.
We can't equivalent an assistant coach to a head coach. We have to draw that line somewhere.
I will dominate.
People are going
to. He
is not. And Nico's the head coach.
The people like narrative-wise are going to make him the head coach, even though he's not, and that's what's really going to annoy me because this is an Arrows team at the end of the day. Like Dom is going to be a big part of why I think we can be good, but he's not. He isn't the main coach. Like that's what I really want to make clear.
Yeah,
but he's getting all the blame and all the praise.
Sure, yeah. But is Revan like from a actual sport point of view? Is Revan besides Spawn the coach on the hot seat. Now that he has this is as good of a roster that you are probably going to build in the offseason, barring maybe an upgrade to Seos. Like, what more could you possibly ask for? He has to make worlds with this roster,
Okay.
no?
I was going to point to that. I think the expectations they have to make worlds, but I'm not putting the expectation that they're going to win a championship because I don't think this is a championship winning roster. I don't think they have the consistency.
I think you're high, but okay.
High. Look at how the majority of the year, not great. Like, and you actually ended the year with a losing record in summer. Like you beat us narrowly, and we were shit. Like we were beyond shit in that playoffs. Like narrowly, and after that, Fudge and Contracts decided they're going on vacation. Then they decide that you beat Cloud9, and then told them to move aside so we can sit next to you. That's what it was. Like, I want to see consistent before I even think that you're a championship contender, because I think you can make worlds. By the way, like I think you can make worlds, and I actually think you will make worlds. Like, let's be clear. I'm not ready to call you a championship team yet, because we saw you beat us, and then you completely fell off a cliff. And I actually started watching some of your interview. By the way, please go and watch Cloud's interview with Revan. It's actually really fucking good. But
where we went 0-20 in scrims after beating you guys?
You beat us, and then the mentality just went like that. Like, you had your free hit against Flycus, and like, for people who don't know, free hits is like there was zero expectation for you to win. But if you win, fucking A, you're pretty much there to Worlds. Like, I can't remember. Did you qualify for Worlds if you won that series? Was that the first place? No.
Yeah.
We'd have to win two.
Right?
No, because the winner of FlyQuest 100 Thieves is the one that made the guaranteed worlds.
Yeah.
So even if we beat FlyQuest, we would have had to play one more game.
But
it would have been a Brazilian team that we should beat if we could beat FlyQuest.
But that was your free hit series, and the fact that you tilted after your free hit series really rubbed me the wrong way with this roster. And
I mean, me too. Don't get me wrong.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm
I got a counter for
as much as I will hear it in a second. As much as I'm going to be listening to the why C9 choked. I actually think you guys choked just as hard. Like, you guys beat us just like that. You still beat us. I gave you props at the time. You then completely just disappeared, and you lost to a Temu Brazilian team. I know I'm gonna get fucking hate on that, but you didn't even lose to a good Brazilian team. And Fudge and Contracts were abysmal. I think they played. Sorry, I actually didn't check the FlyQuest series, but I remember I think it was actually a pretty decent showing, even though he lost. I can't remember.
Our FlyQuest game was good.
But the 100 Thieves series was FBI and Ayla fucking steamrolled your bot lane. And this is why I'm not ready to call you a championship winning team yet, because the second you had I'm not going to call it a fluke, as other people would call it, but you had an upset win, and then you completely didn't move on from that. I'm not talking about the FlyQuest series, by the way, because I wasn't expecting you to win that one. But you then didn't take care of business after that. So if people are down on us, then I'm down on you guys as well.
I think though, we were already, I'm not even lying, going into the C9 series, I think we were already pre-tilted because our players knew that the ceiling was so low because of Palafox's ability to suck that bad. And beating C9 at that level in our players, being able to rise above Palafox and win that series shows, and you guys literally got rid of your best player this offseason. You didn't get rid of. You lost your best player and replaced him with a 5th place mid who did not look good and in Fearless and has continued to not look good in Fearless. And I'm supposed to sit there and be like, bro, our biggest problem was mid. We, in theory, giga upgrade this thing, get it way better. This should fix the mental of the whole team. We should be able to go into scrims and just not watch our mid laner get ran in mid lane, and we don't have to play desperate anymore. Because if we're being real, our team was playing super desperate. You could tell because other lanes thought they had to get leads, and now we're just free.
I agree, but FBI was averaging almost 10 kills every game, that series. But
go back and watch those games. I'm not gonna let this slide. I let it slide the first time. Go back and watch those games. We were having leads in the beginning of the game. Then it came to teamfight phase, and we lost every single teamfight because 100 Thieves were the teamfight team, right? So yes, we lost to your strength, but that B-Boy was like, we weren't running it down in lane or anything. Like, you're making it sound a lot worse than, hey, 100 Thieves was a really good team fight team. They aced us every single team fight.
No, but what I'm saying is like the bottom lane was severely outperforming you in these things, and I know it's a team game and etc. But
In the team fight
Like-
phase where we sucked as a team, like, yeah, that
that's
happened.
all,
I agree
like,
with you.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like your top side was more disappointing than your bot side. That bot side has won series because I thought they had a really good summer. Like, to be clear. But
No, I
mean,
agree.
just
That's
before
what
David
my
goes,
one
like-
little worry of them.
You do remember Sven getting solo killed multiple times and
I'm not
2v2 killed
disag-
by
I'm
our
not
bot
dis-
lane. So like, what I'm
said
saying
that,
is,
though. Yeah.
what I'm saying is, yes, our bot lane can have an off series, but our bot lane's actually one of the more consistent parts
Yeah.
of
Well,
our.
like, I'm just trying to make the point. No, I know Palafox is okay. He's shit. Like, I'm just gonna so like,
Yeah.
but the other parts around him were not like making it so it's not a scapegoat, because the other parts in that playoffs were really bad. Like in different series. Like, I thought Fudge and Contracts were pretty bad. Like, after the C9 series, but then the 100 Thieves series, like, your bot lane had an off day, but your top side consistently was getting ran on, like, that playoff. So like, that's why
I mean, even
I'm
against
actually
Brazil.
like, I think this is why I'm not ready to put you guys above us, even though we choked a couple times. But like, you haven't. I thought you would have been more aggressive at changes. But
Come on, Matt. Are you really gonna be like a team that got third, fourth,
We
second,
tried to
and
get
then
Lucy. Like,
fourth
this is public at this
is now
point. Like,
tournament favorite by downgrading at mid, bruh? I'm supposed to believe that. Third, fourth, second into fourth, downgrades at mid. If we're being real, picks a head coach who has no winning culture in him. Like, the man does not win. He
Revan
middles
doesn't
at
have
best.
either though. Revan has like, you guys didn't make a final this year. You weren't top.
Yeah, but what makes
like,
you feel like you're better?
I didn't say we're better.
What have
but
you done?
No, but the way Cloud and you are speaking is if you're like here and we're here, it's there. Like, I'm not disagreeing that we're not like. I'm not saying we're like fucking championship
but we're
favorites.
there.
But, like,
That's the point.
I
is
don't
we are
think
the
it's
favorite.
that. But you didn't
We should be
prove that.
above
You
you.
didn't prove that afterwards, though. Like, if you're up here, you should be beating that Brazilian team. So you go down there. Anyways,
Oh,
this
okay.
is silly, but like, what I'm saying is,
I get what you're saying.
like, you are like, we can go on to C9, but I think
We beat
our,
you, which
like,
isn't.
no,
good
I want
enough.
David. I want
Like,
David to
we
get on
lost
this.
to
He's
Okay.
just like sitting down laughing the entire time.
I'm loving every minute of this. This is so fun to watch the monkeys.
He's gonna
fight.
go with C9
Like-
because he's gonna be like, "Hey, even though Thanatos."
No, I'm going with
showed what it mattered
Shopify.
most-"
I'm 100% siding with Shopify on this because
Oh, you
what
didn't a
like
week
if
ago.
you
What happened?
if you take in the context of C9 versus Shopify and who has the potential to make like for those changes to elevate them further, even if I personally love APA and I'm speaking of it, like I picked C9 out of pure narrative bliss for me because I love like APA and what he's doing there. If I'm speaking objectively and grading this on the same scale that I would have 100 Thieves if they were still in the league, 100 Thieves had 2 straight years where one player was such a massive problem that it had ripple effects in every other lane. Quid randomly stops performing because the bot lane in 2024 is 2024 is so fucking terrible with Meech in it. Right? And then they upgrade, and all of a sudden, Quid just like this guy that is randomly like underperforming compared to what we know he's capable of starts popping off again. Same thing for River. Like there's a ton of intangibles that you don't see in the locker room culture that can be brought by just fixing one single thing. And then the same thing happens last year where there are clearly issues with Sniper. I still don't like how 100 Thieves handled it. Could have just announced him as a player coach from the jump. But regardless, he comes in and you immediately see the chemistry of the team change. You immediately see problems in the bot lane with FBI and Ayla falling behind at points. All of a sudden, they're stabilizing a lot better. And now the rest of the team is able to play around them to the point where they're winning team fights even more, like even harder than they were at the beginning of the year, which is wild. So for Shopify, there's not a doubt in my mind that Zinni coming in and providing that I use pressure relief valve a lot, but just like finally getting rid of that one problem that clearly had ripple effects elsewhere. When Fudge doesn't have, as I think Paul or one of you two said it, when you don't have to worry about one of your lanes just absolutely fucking running it. It relieves so much pressure off your back that you don't have to do the dumb things that you thought you did, as well as it builds trust within the team fights. So I see a clear world where Shopify comes in and just looks night and day different. Like back to the form whenever they look like they might for some reason be able to contend towards the end of last year. That, but possibly better. Now that said, I still think C9's players have a higher floor coming in, not higher ceiling.
Where I will
if
push back.
if Shopify Cloud9 are here, who's above them to you guys? Like, let's say they're both here. Who's above?
TL. I think on paper, immediately TL is above.
Just TL?
Yeah, just
Okay,
because
this was
Yawn
going to be
quit.
my next question.
Oh,
Or
my
our
bad.
top 3
Can I-
teams.
I'll let Martin,
I'll let
I
Martin
go
go
before?
first.
Yeah.
I want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The where I will push back is where, yes, Palafox was a big detriment. That can also be aligned with coaching. Because what was we doing before Reaper came in? We were winning championships, making international events. He came in, back-to-back chokes. Like,
Did you say winning international events?
no, I said winning and competing at internet. Like, we were making
Oh, okay.
international
I
events.
just wanted I wanted to be very fucking clear on that. Just making sure.
Wait until Casper Cup, and then we'll add that in.
T1 is gonna
Dear.
bitch slap your ass all the way to Sand Hell. You're not even gonna make it out of your group. If you do, you're gonna get bitch slapped by
dare
T1. But
Genji
Genji
to
and
play
Hava Life.
Chovy. I like if Arnold ever watches this
What-
for some reason. I
When
double
Genji
dare
rolls
them.
up, if they have their entire roster, if Genji or Hama Life roll up with their entire roster, you will see a trail of shit and piss following every single player that is on
That's
C9 as they're going to
that
sit
is
down on that stage.
That is absolutely fine because I will take preseason games over nothing. Like I will take these really difficult preseason games over.
Dude,
We'll say
imagine
let's
this is a
we'll
cup
get
of
there.
hot cocoa. This is gonna be me at 3 a.m. sitting here going, "Oh, they're losing again. Oh wow, that's another loss for C9 against the actual starting teams, the Korean teams. This is nice. I can start this in December. You mean in December I can watch them just choke? And since I don't get to see it anymore, because really they don't.
You
make
can't call it a
internationals that aren't
choke if they're
Saudi.
playing Genji and Humble Life's like $10 billion roster. That's not a choke, my friend.
Well, the thing is, they're going to lose to their subs, to not even their main roster. That's the
We're
funny
not
part.
100 Thieves from last year, where we didn't lose to Fearx.
You shut your mouth, because who was the only team that put up any sort of respectable performance against an Eastern team last year? Oh wait,
No,
100
but what I'm
Thieves.
saying is, I know that people are going to, and this is just esports, isn't it? Like, I know if us or TL like don't do well at Casper Cup, they're going to be like, blow up the roster, make a change before lock-in tournament, like get the graphics ready. What I'll go back to is, I think a big detriment to why, like, because we were winning with this core before Reaper came in, like we were doing well, and I genuinely do believe, and like the jury will be out on an era after this season, or like midway through. Like, as much as I love him, we will find out if he has, like, him and Dom are the glue to just build the last block of the bridge to actually, like, to go back to winning. But to me, I just want to make international event. Like, I'm not saying I don't care about winning, but my priority is C9 needs to be one of the representatives at MSI and at Worlds this year. Because
I mean, what, 32.5% of the league goes to Worlds?
Yeah.
So,
and
should be easy.
I want to hear, like, the roar of the crowd when we have an NA mid. Like, that'd be cinema to me. But I do think Reaper was a big problem, that he wasn't the same coach that I had so many, like, fond memories, like, watching in the early years of LCS. And, like, we don't know if Dom and Nero are going to be the answer, but I do believe, as much as removing Palafox would be like a good pressure valve for their Shopify players, I do think an introduction to, because I know Nero was the head, like the assistant coach, but it's completely different dynamically. You actually, now this is your team, now you style it how you want to, and I think this is going to be a new thing. And on the APA Fearless thing, the one thing I actually liked from his interview with Don Jake, that him and Vega are already actively working on Like that was one of the things when they came in, is that you have to work. There is shit to work on. Like we're not just going to sugarcoat. Oh, APA comes in and now everything's fine. It wasn't a change we were planning to make, but now that you're here, there is actual things to work on, and I like the pivot. Like I just had a gut feeling when the unfortunate news that Loki had to step away, I immediately said, "Go and get me APA," because I think his intangibles are going to be good for this roster, even though I wanted to see the Loki year 2. Even if we don't know where Loki would have ended up, I think he's going to be a superstar. Personally, like, you could already see glimpses last year. But I think this is going to be a different team, and if a lot of fans are willing to give Fudge that second chance, because people were down on Fudge when he joined Shopify. Like, I'm willing to give APA
Not
that
me.
same...
Not me.
Like, I'm
Your boy
willing
was singing
to...
his praises from the jump.
Like, I'm... Like... I think this guy just wants to win, and so does every C9 fan.
What are your top three? Sorry, go ahead,
Well,
David.
can I make one point on that real quick? And here's something that I'm just calling this shot now. If C9 gets the APA of 2025, it's going to crash and burn.
Yeah.
If C9 gets the APA of 2024, specifically the one that has that vocal edge and that little bit of shit talk to him, not like this passive, hey, I'm just going to be better, I'm going to do this. Like the one that is willing to fuck with your head and get in it, that is a mental edge that C9 has been missing for 2 straight years now. And you have players like Sven, like Blabber, that I think can do a lot if they gained a little bit of false confidence and just had this little bit of ego to them. There's a balance. You don't want to be too ego to the point where you tip the scales over. But it seems to me like a lot of the players on C9 have kind of like taken a step back and kind of like shelled up a
that's
little
what
bit.
I had this thought on the train the other day. I was like, I want you to come in and be like nasty. Like I want you to be like,
Yes.
like come in with like a point to prove you're assholes. Like, yes, you choked.
Yep.
Fuck that. Like, we just be horrible. Like, we see this in like sports that you just have players that are like nasty players, but they win that mental edge from like the first tackle, or like you get in their heads. And I want APA, and I want him to bring that back out of Sven. And like I want, like, when APA's getting up, Vulcan's getting up with him. Like I want that like energy.
I recently watched a clip of LeBron has a podcast that he does. I don't know who his co-host is with, but he had Steph Curry on, and they were talking about the Olympics and how prior to the game versus France, Curry was having a very bad Olympics for the most part. Stats were down, time possession down, like shot playmaking was down. Everything was just not working well, and they saw it in practice. Like you could see the wheels not quite turning the way they were or where they are in his prime. But everybody knew in the back of their mind, it's like a Curry game is due. It's been a while. It's coming. And just have faith in it. And all of them were hyping him up behind the scenes saying, hey, it's fucking coming. Just give it time. And then it happens at the time that it matters most. You need somebody in that locker room that will be that presence that says, hey, even if, Blabber might have his games where he ints or runs it down, Sven is not going to be this guy that everybody sits here and talks about as like the greatest ADC. But you know what? If we fucking win, that's all that matters. And APA is that type of guy that comes from a wrestling background, that traditional sports mentality that gets that. And I don't want to see him neutered by esports anymore. Okay. I need him to get back to that old school APA mentality that's not toxic, but just understands that competition and can push the locker room to the point where C9 could potentially get over that hurdle. That's a big difference to me.
Reaper only has one title?
Yes. With 100
With the
Thieves.
100 Thieves?
No, he won in 2020.
No,
with
Reaper
C9.
has 2.
He won in 2020.
He won with in 2020 with C9.
He did
and then
win
won
in 2020?
2022 with 100
Okay.
Thieves. Or 2021 with 100 Thieves, yeah.
That's crazy, bro. I would have thought he had way more the way you guys talk him up.
No, I mean he made like
I mean,
world semis and stuff, and
he was like-
world quarters, but
he was
he
like-
didn't win championships.
He was like chain producing quarterfinals appearances for us. Like we were just like TSM existed,
Yeah.
so we were second a lot of times. Like
No, I know. I was just like, That's crazy. I didn't know that. Maybe you will. Actually, I take everything back. Maybe you guys are about to have the chains taken off and you're gonna go win a title, and I'm completely wrong. I had no
Alright,
idea
Paul.
you won so much without him.
Paul, give me your top 3 teams for the year.
Top 3
Yeah.
for the year is TL, SR, C9.
In that order?
I mean, sure, yeah. That order works with me, I guess. I don't think, and I honestly, I don't think any of them are like head and shoulders safe in that top 3 zone. I think any of them could
Okay.
be beat out. I think Lion is like a close fourth to them, but the only problem I have with Lion is I have no idea if Winsome is actually good or not on a
Also,
roster
It's Isles,
that's
it's Isles.
or Isles.
I know what
My bad, yeah.
we all still put the two of
But I
them
just have
back and forth.
it's like weird with Isles. I just have such I think FlyQuest roster is just stinky. That
Not
thing
for
is as
this year. It's
stinky
a
as it
development,
gets.
yeah.
Yeah,
Martin,
that
what's your top 3?
the roster's happy to be top 4 in a 8-team league. Happy
Yeah.
to be top
What
4. That's
does
crazy work.
what does my head and heart say? And I know I'll yeah, because I'll pitch this up because I know David's gonna have 2. I have a feeling, an early and a late. I C9 Shopify Lion. I'm going to have faith that the league will be shit enough that Inspired and Berserker can just be like the 2023 C9, kind of just smurf it enough to be like top 3. But I don't think unless FlyQuest do something completely left field and their kids are just unlocked from the get go, and Masu, because the thing is, Masu also had a really lower year than before, and Quad's coming off a really stinky worlds. Just a quote, Paul. I like the term stinky. I'm gonna steal that.
Yeah.
All right, David,
Bro,
let's hear your
they-
top 3.
Bad.
Question: what team did Impact play for in 2021?
2021 was EG.
EG.
What, he was with EG for 2 straight years?
2 straight years. He had the Jizuke Svenskeren
Okay, that's
roster
what it
with
was.
like Deftly and I forget the support.
Yeah. Okay. That's I was just trying to see, because I was trying to in my head think about like Impact's bounce back in 2022. Because the thing that I'm really stuck on, in no particular order, I have C9 up there in my top 3 by the end of the year. And I really struggle after that. But I also don't think me having C9 in my top 3 also does not mean that I think they're going to win. I just think the top 5 teams of C9, TL, Fly, Lion, Shopify are all going to be vying for those slots at the end of the year. I think it's going to be so close between all 5 of them that it's going to be interesting. So if I had to put my top 3, stamp it in time, C9 is going to be one of them. FlyQuest will be another, because we've seen too many times of people doubting young players coming in this league that, EG 2022 is going to take too much time. 100 Thieves was going to take too much.
Three veterans.
I know. I know there's no veterans, but I think ThinkHard as a coach is going to be able to allow. I'm not saying FlyQuest is going to be good early. This is specifically a prediction for the end of the year. You asked me early, end of lock-in tournament, TL, C9, Shopify. Those 3 in that order, specifically. But by end of year, given a full year to figure out who will end up being the locker room leader of that team, to figure out who's gonna be able to usher them in and become that person that steps up in that moment, which could also include a roster change, because don't forget, a team that has gone to Worlds last 2 years has included a roster change midway through the year. And the whole point of this FlyQuest roster is to figure out what core pieces to build around. And if they make a decision, say for example, Gakos isn't it, right? And you plug in Dokla later in the year, That's entirely a possibility. I just
Could
think
be
they are
Blippo.
set up with a ton of, or Blippo, like whoever you want. They are set up with enough good pieces that you can try and figure out that by end of year, they can make a change and go. My final team, fuck, this is hard because I think TL's likely to choke towards the end of the year. Lion's likely to choke by the end of the year. Shopify might step up, but I weirdly see you guys peaking in like split two. You know what? I'm going to go Shopify. Fuck it. I think that's going to be my 3.
Another interesting point I'm thinking of is, does the removal of Inspired and Blippo unlock, in a weird way, unlock Masu and Quad? Because now that, like, overbearing, like, presence is gone? Or does it make them 10 times worse and show they were more reliant on these 2 players to get them through?
If you look at how they were talking in interviews and like behind the scenes and things like that, I think they were already unlocked. I think they'll play worse rather than better. Like Masu legitimately wanted to start like weird ass items like tier on Jin or something crazy like that. Like once the chains are unlocked, these players were doing some weird stuff.
Were the chains unlocked because they were mentally broken, or were the chains
No.
unlocked? What was my question is, what's the timeline of when he's suggesting tier on Jin?
I don't think it was tier, but it was something stupid like that. It was
You
Pink
get my
Ward. He wanted to start Pink Ward. Yeah. He
Sure,
wanted to,
you get my point, though.
It was this year. It was this year they felt more comfortable in Quad and Masu. And
I
it
don't
was
think this year they felt more comfortable. I'll be honest with you.
That's what they
FlyQuest from they can say all they want. I don't give a fuck. FlyQuest this year from Split 1 showed a ton of signs of problems. A ton. Like the fact that they got upset so early on by 100 Thieves was already a red flag that everybody should have been paying attention to. Like the regression of FlyQuest from end of last year to this year, just at the beginning, was already apparent. That I think they were mentally like starting to show cracks in small ways that by the time summer came, then yeah, obviously it fell apart. They're just raw mechanically talented enough to
that's
like their floors that high.
almost Split 2. They clearly peaked. Like Split 2, them playing against BLG was them playing at a level we had not seen. They were clearly improving. Look at how Busio improved from Worlds to Split 2. Yes, Split 3 they got worse. But I think they took the lessons from Split 1, those like 5 weeks, very seriously, and they played a lot better in Split 2.
Sure. But how does a roller coaster work? Okay. You go up, you come down, you go back up again, and then it finally crashes.
This is why.
And MSI to me is, hey, they went up, they like Worlds, they got to this point, they collapsed a little bit. They were able to use some of that momentum to shoot up just above where they were before. Because let's be honest, you can say they look good, but they still didn't win a game 5. They still didn't beat an Eastern team in a series. So it's the same result regardless. Like even though they look good, and I will give them credit for that, same result. The problem is then eventually that has to come down. And when it came down really hard, really fast. Despite them winning, that's the problem of everybody else in the region absolutely fucking like collapsing at the end of last year for the most part. Like
they were so fortunate that C9 and TO, who I thought were the only 2 like legitimate contenders to take them down, fell off like really hard.
TL?
Before,
TL, like, brother, 100 Thieves pushed them more than anybody in summer.
TL, like,
100 Thieves, like we realistically should have pushed them to 5 in that series, but we threw our asses off.
Your game 1. Also, FlyQuest collapsed started at Worlds. So like their collapse started at Worlds. So even if like Cloud9 didn't choke, I don't know that they would have won.
I think if like we kept, like, it's obviously hypotheticals, but I think if we would have kept the level that we were having from spring like into summer and like summer playoffs, we would have beaten them. And not like,
yes, same. If FlyQuest kept playing as well as they did in spring, they would have beaten G2. Like yeah.
But yeah, like, I'm just saying, like, I think they were just fortunate that other teams, like, I don't think, I know in the end, 100 Thieves probably could have been, like, taken down that series, but I, like, going into summer, I wasn't saying, yeah, 100 Thieves and Shopify are the 2 teams I'm going to send to go face FlyQuest. I would have put C9 and TL, but obviously the TL had, like, the problems that, like, occurred, and C9 did Reaper things.
We 3-0'd Team Liquid in spring. I don't know why, like...
And coming into this year, I wouldn't
No,
have
because there was
had
an
the
expectation
Indianapolis
that-
Colts as one of the best teams in the NFL. Yet here I am
Yeah.
having to kiss Paul's ass because they're suddenly fantastic.
There
Like
was-
I
there
don't
was
give a
a-
fuck what the paper says. That's what the reality of the
Because
cards
a lot of the
say after
conversation for
they lay
TL
down.
was at some point will they like return to form, and it just never happened because like even APA saying they kept having conversations, and it felt like this is the week that we turn back into sentient human beings, and it never happened. And then where they're like, okay, spawns fly, and then you thought, oh shit, and then the problem still never fixed itself.
They never
I
went.
mean,
to
I agree with you.
KBBQ.
At the end of Split 2, it really did look like there was it was FlyQuest and Cloud9, and then there was a step below, and then there was Shopify, and then God knows what was happening with 100 Thieves and Team Liquid. It was like a very clear top two, a third, and then like everyone else was just like collapsing and burning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say for my top three, just to what Jacob's saying, I actually think FlyQuest will not FlyQuest. I don't think FlyQuest is going to be top three. I think this is a 2-year project, not a 1-year project. Like even look at Busio, who everyone was saying was going to be a top tier support, took 3 years. But 2 years on FlyQuest, but 3 years in total. Like the first year, obviously he still had Nuke Duck. It's not like he didn't have any help.
Don't get me started on Nuke Duck.
That's fine. This stuff takes time. Is my point. Even someone like Busio took time. And then I think I'm going to put Shopify first. And I mean, obviously I'm biased, but I do have more reasoning. I'm going to actually put C9 second. I think it really depends on whether I will dominate as a full-time coach. Will actually be as good as everybody thinks he will be. Because just because you're smart at the game and you are good as a consultant of like, hey, look at what they're doing here. We can definitely improve on this or improve on that. Does not mean you're good as a coach. Those are very different skills, and I think we're gonna have to just see what happens. And I think Lion's gonna be third. I just think the caliber of players puts them above like Team Liquid. I think Team Liquid are gonna collapse. I have no faith in like the Team Liquid project. Bringing in Morgan just makes it feel like what. Yeah, I don't have faith in this project.
The one thing I'll say,
Their coach is also as far away as possible.
What's up?
Their
like,
coach is as far away as he
Yeah,
possibly
their coach
can
is
be.
literally on the other side of the planet.
the one
A
thing
Discord
I'll,
head coach Kitty is
17-hour
crazy.
like time difference.
the one thing like I know Casper Cup people are going to look at results if we do badly. What I'm actually looking at is how is Blabber and APA like pairing as a duo, because that's what I'm the most interested in. Because is it going to be APA is going to want the resources and Blabber's got to play to him, or is it going to be like how Niski and Eminez were playing with, like they want to play for Blabber and they want to set him up? That would be, because I'm curious how we play as a team, because I think we're going to be different, because APA is very, very vocal about how he wants to play the game and how he sees it, and if we remain on the same page, I do think we can level up, like from a macro perspective, because I think we actually were pretty good last year, even though we fell off at the end. But I'm happy with where we landed, like going into next year, because I still think all these players, they do have a tilt in them. I'm not gonna like deny that, but I also think they were top 2, top 3 in their role for most of the year. So I'm leaning on that to be like the floor, basically.
We didn't touch on Lion all that much. It seems like we're all barring Cloud.
Oh yeah,
Very
maybe
down
we
on
should.
them.
Nah, I think I kind of screwed up forgetting about them too much, because there is a lot of similarities between them and, well, maybe not them and C9. I don't know. There's no similarities. I take all that back. They're just a weird team. They have like they have 2, I would say, studs in Berserker and Inspired. I'm not really worried about the fact Berserker had that one bad year, even though I'm worried about it for Morgan. Morgan did it for like 6. Berserker had 1 year where he played on a crap team. And I think he'll be fine. I'm just very worried about Isles. I think Isles is just in way over his head, especially with the way like Berserker and Inspired seem to talk behind the scenes. They don't seem like people who are going to be kind to the weakest link, and he's very clearly not good most places he goes. Like I just have no faith in that. I also think we haven't really talked about Dom. I don't get why everybody's just hyping this guy up like he's the next LS savior of the world. Like
I'm
they're
not
really
saying
acting
no.
like he's gonna
Okay.
come in and just change the game.
No, I'm saying it's the most
a
exciting
toxic
thing to
streamer.
watch. It's the most exciting thing to watch, is it not?
Yeah, but I still
Okay.
see how a toxic streamer comes in. Well, I don't know if it's that exciting.
He's been working with
me.
like literally the C9 players were like get us Dom. He was really useful throughout the year. So like I don't
Yeah.
think he's like this toxic streamer kind of thing.
I think though, once you're a coach, that changes a lot. Who you are as a person. When you're on the outside, it's a lot easier to be like, this is what I would do, but that's just how I do it type of thing.
Oh,
But
is
I
this
once
agree
you're
with
about
you.
in there
Dom?
and you
Sorry,
have the role,
I went bathroom. Is this
Yeah.
about Dom?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
I have a really good point
I
on Dom
think
after you guys have spoken.
once he's in there, it changes a lot, especially with APA, who is a known like get in your face player. I mean, just from what we know, Blabber is a known get in your face player, and they're both probably the two stinkiest players on that team from how their past years went. And so they're gonna really be the dudes who get in there and lead and start screaming at people. APA had a really bad last year. Blabber legitimately lost C9 their series against FlyQuest in Split 2 on his own. We literally all sat there and watched him do the old, like, gold Jarvan sprint at the ADC, realizing you're out of range, and then just turn around and die instantly because you panic. Like, I just don't see how that team is going to survive mentally.
I don't want to start this blabber conversation, but I don't know how a top 2 jungler for 95% of the year is stinky year by all means.
Because
But,
he's
like-
soft. This C9 team is so soft. They struggle once they collapse.
Wait,
That's why people
95% of the year, you
But
thought
you
he was a
can't
top
talk
2
about
jungle?
soft after how you guys ended. You can't talk about you're a
Our
team of
players,
C9.
had it done it
No,
once.
95
Your players do it
wait.
every year.
No, but you
Come
guys
on,
are
man.
wildly
95%
consistent.
Us
of
not
the
being
year, you
soft.
thought he was...
Look. Us being
Am I
soft, it doesn't mean
crazy?
you're not soft. So like, stop. Just redirecting.
I don't want to go down this narrative, but I feel like I'm going to cause like a shitstorm, and I feel like I'm down for it. Shopify is a fluke series team. They beat
Okay,
us
before we talk about
once.
Shopify, let's just stick with C9.
Let me land.
Stop redirecting.
Let me land.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to just say fuck it, and if I never get a Shopify interview after this, that's absolutely fine. I still think they're a good org. Owners hit and miss, but like we can not touch on that. I'm just gonna start a bullshit narrative that I think that you guys just had a fluke series upset win, and like you were wildly inconsistent the majority. I think Fudge did return to form. He looked better, like, and props to him, because it is not like, one thing I'm gonna be serious on, it's not easy to bounce back after like how like what happened at the end of C9, where to some degree he was like wildly scapegoated when there was other problems on that team, including coaches at the time. But
Man.
like, I'm so vexed up now. I don't even know what my fucking point was.
Okay. So you got your Shopify like hate flame out. Let's go back to what we were actually talking about with C9, right? Just because Shopify exists doesn't change the fact that C9 exists as well. So C9, even I Will Dominate was talking about his team being soft. Okay, that is the issue that we have. Does I Will Dominate and APA coming in change this team from being soft and collapsing at every point of pressure?
Well,
that's really what you have to find.
Think if you have a dog cage, right? Dog cage full of puppies. You've now introduced a pit bull, so that cage looks a lot scarier.
But I Will Dominate was there last year, right?
I'm talking about APA from like if you're talking about the team being soft, you've added a scary dog. Or like in terms of mentality, I'm not saying like his actual performance. You've added someone with a little bit of an edge to them that's going to piss your teammates off, and it's up to the other players to get around it, because they did vouch for him. Like APA said, Sven was a big like voucher for this guy and bringing him on, like when they had to get a new mid laner.
I'm dying though, bro, because last year, okay, you guys, you win, what was it, the 9 games? Was it 9 best of 3s, or was it like 6 games for the pick'em phase, whatever?
That
The stupid
It was
split
3
that
best
thing
of
from
was
three.
so
starter.
shit.
3 best
I
of
know
threes.
you guys were number 1 in it. That's all I remember. But then you guys went to 5 games against DSG, and everyone called me crazy when I said that was going to go to 5 games. And then when it did, your whole fan base was literally begging Blabber to be cut next year. Like,
Yeah,
everyone in our Discord who's a C9 loyal was like, Blabber needs to go. But you're sitting here telling me 95% of that year, you were chill with his play? Like, you guys weren't
Yeah.
begging this man to move
I
on?
like. I always said if a better option became available, I would do that swap. There wasn't a better option because I knew we didn't have the money for Inspired. Like, so I'm not even going to
Oh,
get
yeah.
into the hypothetical of, oh, why didn't we bring in Inspired? We just didn't that. And then there's no other jungler in the league that I was like, yeah, I'll pick him up. And because I wanted to keep our solo laners, there's no import option for me, like, to look at.
You don't think
an
like a
import-
River or a Contracts could have unlocked you guys better
No,
than
because I
Blabber
think
running
contracts
around
is
some
like
games?
wildly inconsistent. I think we'd be back at the same point of just C9 fans complaining, what the fuck is contracts doing? Why is he like flipping everything? This guy is just wildly inconsistent. I feel like you're getting a similar level of play, even if contracts like it's weird. I don't think contracts like does anything for this team.
I mean, now that I'm thinking about our jungle pool last year, he probably was somewhere in that top 4 area because how bad our jungle pool was. Like, TL just didn't have a jungler most of the year.
I thought the
and
top 2 junglers like that year
Fly
were
Cloud9, what?
Inspired
River.
Blabber, and then River, like at points was like it was interchangeable between Blabber and River, but then like I
Yeah.
wasn't having contracts
River
above
did have a
them.
huge downturn.
Like I thought Blabber was good. Like yes, he cost us the final,
Ugh.
but like
Do you think he was top 2 because of himself or because of your roster and the fact Loki?
I thought he was playing.
having a
I thought
crazy
he was
year.
playing pretty
Because
well.
of himself.
What do you
Loki,
mean? Loki wasn't Loki wasn't even a top 3 mid.
until the very
Yeah,
end.
split 3,
Yeah.
Loki was keeping them in games.
I'm
Well,
just
At the
quoting.
very
I'm,
end, but, like-
I'm quoting APA
Oh,
on that
okay.
one.
I was about to be like, what? Loki was keeping them in games.
I was saying that to piss Martin off because I know Martin went on his tirade last year of
Yeah.
when are people going to call out APA for saying that Loki
No,
wasn't top 3, and then
because-
meanwhile APA's watcher from the bench.
No,
Because,
that
like,
was,
honestly,
no, 'cause
do
they-
any of you... Dave's pretty much TL, right? Dave, do you want Blabber on TL
Yeah, I take Blabber on TL.
over Jose Diodo?
Yes.
Any day of the
100%.
week.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Oh my
Is
God.
that even a question?
I would agree.
Is that even a question? What the fuck are you saying?
Actually,
That's not
though,
like
do you
Califox
think-
Zinni level, but that's pretty close. Like,
Yes.
come on, dude.
Yes, I legitimately think if
I'm
Blabber
actually
goes to
starting to
any
think-
other team other than C9,
Does he?
he succeeds so goddamn well with a change of environment, just allowing
You
him a
think on
fresh shit.
FlyQuest he's gonna lead them?
I don't know. I don't know if I consider Blabber a leader of the youth necessarily,
Because if we're
but
going any other team, do you think he makes Shopify better than they are right now?
I think so because I think he's
Yes,
actual
yes, I'd be
overall
willing to say
package
yes.
of gameplay
Really?
is pretty. Like people are like looking at his moments as like over his
He
actual.
couldn't play Vi the whole
performance.
year.
Everyone
And
has
his
their
Jarvan
like.
started to tank off a cliff.
But everyone has their like.
And those were important champs. Like, extremely important champs.
I'm not gonna argue
look,
there. Like he's.
I'm not gonna. Yeah,
terrible.
the thing is, I can't sit here and say that it was good. I'm just saying Fudge was also shit whenever he ended his time on Cloud9. But the second he goes to Shopify, things improve a little bit. So I'm saying for Blabber, I don't
Yeah.
think it makes that big of a difference, but I think even a 10% improvement leads him to a title. Simple
I think
as
on
that.
TL, I'd be convinced. I don't think any other roster he could go to in the league. And he all of a sudden, like, shines on there.
Put it this way, you
One,
can't
because a lot
tell
of them
me.
have crappy players, right?
You can't
like-
tell me that if Blabber's on TL right now, that they are not immediate favorites for the entire year.
It doesn't do that for me.
For me, it does.
He was
I
the
think-
I'll put
reason
them over
they,
Shopify.
C9 was falling apart last year. A main reason.
I think
Outside of coaching,
for
he had
for
two main
C9, I
champs
think
he
the
just couldn't
issues were
play.
team wide. I think the issues were team wide on C9.
a lot of fans.
But what do you do if a
don't
guy
like
like
him?
him can't
A
play?
lot of people
main
respect him though in
champs?
this league. Like a lot of people are still really
Yes.
high on him. Like a lot of coaches value him, and I know if Blabber announced today I'm leaving C9, there is a queue like out the door for him. Like I know.
Yeah, but
He
I'm
goes.
not
He
sitting
ends
there
up going to
like,
K
oh,
Corp to replace
Shopify.
Yike.
Yeah, okay.
Dude, if Blabber
Yeah.
leaves Cloud9, I will be so pissed at Cloud9 because this guy's your franchise player. Like, he is good enough to win titles.
I still think he is.
I don't know. You don't just get rid of someone like that.
You guys still think he's good enough to win titles even though he lost them titles
Yes.
last year?
Dude,
Yeah.
he was 2 millimeter. He was one backdoor away from winning that title. They were getting Elder Dragon. Like, those margins are so thin. That,
I
yes,
agree,
absolutely.
but he's been on the bad end of the margins a lot in NA5.
Yeah.
And he won 3 splits in a row. He's been on the right side as well. Like,
Yes. But for the past
2022 isn't
2
as far
years-
away as we think it has been. I will say.
Yes,
it
2022
wasn't.
isn't.
23.
It
we
wasn't in
lost
a row
one.
because
But
there was
last
one
year, I
weekend.
feel like we're all forgetting the fact that everybody was hoping that C9 would upgrade for their sake.
I don't always look at like the fan like sentiment though as like correct because I think people
But
want
even
something
other
different.
people,
Like
dude, people like me and Cloud and Dave were saying, no, you should keep him as a joke.
yeah, but like
Like, that's how bad he was playing at times. And now we're just being like,
I
oh,
know
you know, the fact he couldn't play 2
the
main champs,
results.
and that's what kind of got him raffle stomped.
I think the weight of the moments that like led to like a bad year is outweighing. I think his actual performances. I don't think they're as bad as like we need to kick him because like one, who are we kicking him for? Like there isn't a tier 2 player. I'm sorry, that's like good enough to like that
Yeah.
C9 seat is like you have to be fucking ready to win now if you're going in there. And
Did you guys even make a play for Inspired, or did you just not have the money?
like I don't think
They
we
didn't have the money.
And I think
There's no chance you.
if you're like, I
Their
don't.
name was
I
not
would-
reported. So
Yeah, and let's be honest. I think Blabber, even if like I don't know what their thoughts were, but I think Blabber is a good cheap alternative. Like if you have to like,
Yeah.
I would rather keep Blabber than try
budget
Like,
inspired.
oh, I
Yeah.
I think Blabber's a bit more active than Inspired like, in the early game, but like other than that, yeah, I guess you could call that.
Just shocking how
more
all
I
of a
think
sudden
about this
everybody's
now-
like defending Blabber.
The more I think about it now, the more I'm curious how he looks post Reaper again. When the last time we were seeing him, he was like MVP, like without Reaper, and then he came in. We were like collectively as a team dog shit mentality.
Dude, you guys, okay, I have to go off. You guys are so ready and willing to crap on Reaper when he does something wrong, but the fact that Reaper took this roster with 2 Korean solo lane rookies and just look at how high they peaked, I do not think that happens under any other coach. And now we're going to take the pieces that Reaper built, and yes, he did collapse at the end, but like that project was Reaper's project. So if we're going to give Cloud9 praise for getting that high, Reaper is the first person to get that praise. Because developing rookies, we've seen how poorly it can go when you have a head coach who's not willing. We saw Quid with and without Golden Glue, right? And like Quid MVP level with Golden Glue. Without Golden Glue, why the hell did you keep him? I think it's a very hard and difficult task. And I think 2024 Reaper, absolutely 100% all the blame goes to him for the collapse of Cloud9. 2025, a lot of that praise for that split 2 and even most of split 3, like all of that greatness that Cloud9 achieved, I think is thanks to Reaper as well.
Yes, but the same problems in 2020, 2024, and 2025 still reared their ugly head, and it looked the exact same. It felt the exact same in these series. I felt the way we lost to 100 Thieves was the way we lost to FlyQuest in 2020 in the opening round of playoffs. Like, these problems kept rearing their head. We suddenly couldn't draft. Like, after we were praising how good we were drafting the entire year, we suddenly couldn't play a single objective to save our lives. and we looked nervous against DSG. We looked nervous.
That's fair.
Like, why?
But yes, but like you're forgetting all the good. Like he picked Loki over Saint. He like helped Thanatos learn how to play macro. His TPs were so bad he knew nothing about macro.
We don't know.
What is your relative barometer of good though? Because here's the problem with Reaper. And while I 100% agree with your point, Cloud, and I like using 100 Thieves as an example. Whenever he came into 100 Thieves, the individual ceiling of players increased pretty substantially with him as a head coach. Like you look at how Closer played, how FBI played, how Abadage until his fall off at the end. Like all of them got better under Reaper's tutelage. However, there is something to be said about players improving individually in skill, but not being able to have the mentality to get over that final hurdle. And while 100 Thieves won a title, notably during COVID, with no crowd in an LCS arena where nobody else was there, you look at how they did on stage, and in those big moments with Reaper, it was a problem. It was a big, big problem. They were not able to get it done. And I respect Reaper for his player development, and maybe he's better as an assistant coach. But when you ask me to have an opinion of Reaper, I'm always going to know him as the guy that can get you close but never over the line. And that is a problem, in my opinion, that I don't know how you solve other than by having him not as a head coach. Watch K-Corp this year. See what happens.
Ooh. All right, we'll watch K-Corp.
How much you want to bet K-Corp finishes second? Every split.
Every split? I don't know. I think they're going to win one split. Like, Lucio's just too good. They're going to win a split.
They'll win if they win the first one but lose the two that matter, I think that's even more proving the point. So
there needs to be a public apology to C9 if K-Pop follows the exact same formula of like start hot, don't make worlds, and then I want like a public apology on Twitter. People like, I'm sorry. And then if we make worlds, like then it's actually like, maybe he was a big problem. But
it's also easier to make worlds in AA than EU.
Shall we quickly touch on your last point, Clark? Because we actually went for like an hour, 40 minutes on the roster.
We didn't even talk about Dig, but we can just forget Dig because they don't even have a roster.
Yeah, there's none. I will add this one quick note to finish this out. We talk about like rosters meshing, all that. Spawn just went on Twitter. I opened up my phone and reposted my tweet saying some of y'all doubted me on the Inspired take when I said that he might not mesh with Quid and TL. So that's pseudo confirmation that Spawn does not believe that Inspired and Quid would mesh well together.
Interesting.
What it's worth.
Yeah. The other topic here, we sort of do like the state of North American League of Legends. I think this is the third time we do it together. LCS is back. This is awesome. We have the split formats are so much better. Like a lot of the problems that happened in 2025 were actually fixed going into 2026. Besides, like the fact that we lost 2 teams, that's one that has not been solved. But it's also hard to solve. We also have new problems now because the content creators that we've had are leaving. I Will Dominate is no longer going to be a co-streamer, right? He's a full-time coach. Yamato is leaving because he's a full-time coach as well. LS hasn't been doing League of Legends as much as he did back in 2024. Even in 2025, he was doing less. So it feels like all of our big North America, like people who make content about North America are leaving. And if anything, with LCS coming back, what we need is more content. Not content like what happened with the LTA. So where do we go from here? I'll start with our, resident content creator in David. But like, what does LCS do to combat the idea of like LCS is back, but we need it? This should be the time to put the metal to the pedal, the pedal to the metal, and instead it feels like we're doing the opposite.
I will say it first and foremost. You and I and Marn and Paul, Paul to a lesser extent, because obviously, he's co-host of the podcast here and not doing his own individual content, but he's got a wife and a daughter to worry about. So I don't want to put that same level of pressure on him. But like, we do need to recognize the moment that we carry a torch, a pretty heavy one at that of being like the LCS representatives that need to push things further with content. Like we need to up our own game that then inspires other people to get into the space, which can then push us. From an individual point of view, I just think we need to have creators in the space that really understand what they want to bring. Like, don't cater to C9, to TL, to FlyQuest, whatever like image these guys have of like their version of fandom. Lead it yourself and give people a reason to believe in. I can't sit here and say what that one answer is because I think like Miss Chim Chim, for example, great example. Her content is designed specifically, as she coins it, for what is it, the she's, the theys, and the gays, and it's like it's perfectly catered to that, and that's and you can grow a community like that. I personally believe in the in-person sports style fandom that I think can translate to a team in some way, shape, or form and be a bit more geolocated, and you bring in people like that then translates to in-person content, things that you can do around your city, things that you can do with players that kind of ingrain them within that culture as well. But you have to find your identity. And I know it's a vague answer, and that's like that's not going to please many people. They're going to think that I'm just saying big words and it means nothing. But like I don't know how to explain it other than that of just find what you are genuinely passionate about and what connects with people and push it as hard as you can. And I like on top of that, I think teams really need to embrace the creators that do rise up in the space. And most importantly, leverage them for in-person events and start mobilizing people, get people out and about. Because while I'm happy that we have the Caspa Cup, I'm not happy that we realistically do not have a North American off-season event for us to watch at a reasonable time, nor connect with fans. I just watched this past weekend the Red Bull home ground for Valorant sell out the Hammerstein Ballroom every single day. There is zero reason why we couldn't do a guest appearance on Broadway for 2 days that has a show match between our top 4 teams in some capacity in the off season. Or if you want to specifically let that be a road trip thing during the full year, fine. But bring Ludwig out, bring the creators of Shopify, like to like try and get Charlie to come up from Florida. Like you got to try and leverage that to start mobilizing fandom, because then that'll then feed into like, hey, I want to see vlogs of the event. I want to see like the content behind it. Like it all feeds into itself in some way, shape, or form.
So I do want to get to you, Paul, but before that, I feel very, this is going to sound weird, but depressed hearing that answer, because I feel like any business model that is based or relies on your content creators to raise up the ship of a drowning like league is just not a healthy environment to be in. I kind of agree with you. Like, we're gonna have to step up big if we want to fill in the shoes of Yamato, LS, and like Dom, and we're not there. I have like what 12, like 1% of I Will Dominate subscribers, like, and his views, it's not even close. I think even Yamato would average like in the five figures when he makes stuff about LCS. And like my biggest interviews do that, but on average, no, I don't. So it's like it's a very, very big shoes to fill. But then the other thing is like I just put most of the responsibility on the teams. And I know you touched about the teams. I think the teams in the league are the ones that have all the resources. They have all the creators already. They have all, or maybe not the creators, but the players. I tend to look at like what do they need to do. And you obviously you touched upon like roadshows and like teams actually bringing out the creators and whatnot. And that kind of lifted me back up after a little bit of a depressive phase. But I'll go to you, Paul. What do you see LCS needing to do in order to get back, like making LCS great again, how it was back in 2014, 2015?
I think mainly it is just the roadshows. I think the roadshows that we've completely, well, we've kind of cut off entirely for the most part, other than last split, we went to Texas. Without those, it's really hard to build a connected fan base. And doing I think the movie theater idea is a good idea in spirit, but it's not going to completely mesh as much as doing a roadshow somewhere else. And then I think them completely abandoning essentially the Midwest has been really odd. I feel like there's a lot of people in the Midwest area, like somewhere in Chicago that they could tap into. I mean, they're going to New York City next year. They've been to New York a couple years ago, I guess. So they've hit up there. But Raleigh was just a really weird location. I think Atlanta or Chicago fits way better with what you're trying to do. And then leaving all of Worlds pretty much in Dallas is a weird decision, I think, too. Because I assume they're not going to be doing a ton of road shows with the rest of LCS season. So I really don't know what else we do, because it seems like most of their money is going into those 3 weeks or whatever they put in Dallas.
I
And
think they
then
have
go
different
into
budgets.
Stevie Lowell.
So I
Different budgets
assume
entirely. Yeah.
that the
Okay.
budget that took the players to Brazil last year could be used for roadshows this year. Like that's my assumption.
Because we're going to Brazil for finals, right?
No,
No.
no, that's canceled.
that's gone. Luckily, thank
Oh,
God.
that was all
yeah.
canceled with
Yeah,
LCS
that was
change?
canceled. So
Okay.
now we
So the
in
money
theory
that they
have
had
our
set
own roadshow.
aside.
Yeah, you would
Can I be
think-
filled in quickly?
Yes, go ahead.
No, so can I be filled
No,
in
he
on
was
like
wondering.
Oh, filled
It's
in.
pretty
Okay,
much
I
just
see.
saying what's gonna fix NA
what's going to
content.
save NA?
How do
Yeah.
we save it? How do we make LCS great again?
imports?
Fuck off.
On a more serious note, like you have more connections with the play. You've interacted with players and with what's it called? With like teams on the org side. What do teams? What does Riot? What do creators? What do you think we need to do in order to make the LCS go back to its heyday?
Can I have one quick thing on this to your point, Cloud? How do you think TL, C9, and TSM got to where they are now?
Their players stream. They streamed a lot.
Their player stream, but also, I mean, just in general, like all of these started at the same point that like the tier 2 orgs are now, and they build it up from scratch. And I get they were in an era where you could build quicker and the ceiling was higher. Not denying that. The reality that a lot of people need to accept in North America is that we are much smaller, and the height that we can grow to realistically is not as big as it once was, and we'll probably never get back there. However, the methods of how you get back to even the fraction of the ceiling remain the same, which is it has to be grassroots. It has to be organic. It has to be players and content creators that people buy in because they want to see their story and they want to follow it and they want to watch it grow. And they want to like they want to live through those creators as well. For TL, for C9, FlyQuest has Basil now as well. Like, you need to have some sort of soul to these brands and to the things around them. It can't just like, we are not a traditional sport. It cannot just be, hey, we're Team Liquid and there's value in that. Really, what value is there in that for League fans? Like, can you tangibly tell me and show me? Like, you should be able to immediately, like, if I say the Minnesota Vikings and I do a skull chant, immediately I have clips I can show you. I can, like, the community representations there. There's a lot more to it. That doesn't exist right now. And in terms of how you build that, again, I just think that's all entirely on us as creators to carve out our identity, to eventually then possibly join an org, and then help grow that identity through them as you both push each other to that level. In the same way, Scump and Optic in lockstep. Like, they're very much tied to each other. FaZe, Zuma, and the creators.
Like, that's not the same.
Yes, sure. But the reality is, Kadril and Los Ratones. Kadril didn't play on Los Ratones.
Yeah,
He was the
that's
org
true,
owner.
yeah.
He was the content creator. You can have these, or like Abai, Kometo. Like, they're not players. They are creators. They are passionate individuals that have a vision for esports and what they want to do with it. And they have made that vision a reality. And it is on teams to identify people with those same visions and make that a reality.
I'll let you go, Martin, and then I'll share some of my thoughts.
I think to list those 3 teams before, you knew their identity. Like, TSM was Baylife, C9 was Mimi, and TL was like, if you compare it to like a car, they were like the reliable engineering part of a car, where like they were the best in class for everything. You knew they were going to make the correct decision because they care about winning. Slightly different from TSM, even though they also won a lot. but you knew what all of these orgs were about, and like C9 had players continuously that played with zero fear. Like, oh, we're up against Uzi Mako. Who gives a shit? Like, we're gonna run them. Like, oh, we're playing Keen? Okay, fine, we'll pick Hecarim. Like, it's just, you had continuous players that had no fear, and I think that's what a lot of orgs has, like, lost, and they just exist. Like, we've had this conversation about, like, what C9 is. Like, it's a little different now, but I think the one thing, like, orgs have, like, lost is, like, well, what do we stand for as, like, a brand? What is, like, and like you said, we don't pick up people that are for that brand. And that's why I think, like, when you were talking about your team, David, it's like you want to pick a brand that is, like, good for you as well as, like, you're going to be good for them.
So again, I said this earlier. I think you weren't here, Marn, but one of the things I tend to look at is like I put all the responsibility on Riot. Like, let's just call them the LCS because specific branch, the LCS and the teams. Because at the end of the day, it is their best financial interest, right? The idea of like, oh, we have to find these creators, and have them do it. I agree with. I just think that besides FlyQuest with Basil, and besides like maybe Kesha with G2, every org has absolutely and completely failed to utilize content creators to the point that they're like, what's the point of having a content creator? Like Cloud9, for example, had Emilia Cosplay. Now, Emilia Cosplay could have leveraged her brand in so many different ways. The only thing I saw her do is co-stream when Cloud9 had like a partnership with Blue Otter. She co-streamed Blue Otter's games and she showed up for one of the finals in like a meet and greet.
She was
Is
there
that
for
really
most finals, like, when she was part of the org. But like,
okay, so like again, is that a reason to sign her?
That, in my opinion, this, I don't know if this is controversial or not, showing up finals should be your reward for a whole year's long of community building and activations. That's the way I view like our World's Finals watch party versus, you know, our bi-weekly LCS stuff here in New York. There are weeks during the year, especially when we were out in Brooklyn, we'd have 1 or 2 people. But you know what? I could guarantee those 1 or 2 people that showed up then will be there at the end of the year whenever everybody else is there for the hype. So like you have to view it as this journey, and I feel like a lot of times people just like look at the end of the road and just focus on the end of the road. It's like you're not taking the steps that build up to that point that make the end of the road so hype.
And I guess like
I'll crap talk one of my own team in Shopify, right? I don't want to like go into other people's teams. We have Lena Lemon. She's huge. She's like multi-million, like on TikTok, YouTube. Like she's really big. Nobody knows that we have a content creator, right? Because she only really showed up like what, twice this entire year, and it was like just a little bit during like the spring season festival that they had in LA. Like she doesn't do stuff for League of Legends. And sure, maybe they didn't sign her for League of Legends, sign her for something else. But we don't do things like what we saw with Basil, for example. Basil is a great example. Metamorphosis in her first year, right? They brought in artists, they brought in like old Pause and Pixels, like these interviews that they were doing. They did a lot of content. She started doing modeling for them, right? We have Lena Lemons. She lives in LA. She could model some of our stuff. We could make stuff. She also makes merch for FlyQuest. She also started doing interviews and co-streaming their games and like doing all of this community building. So I think there is a way to utilize your content creator. Same thing with Kesha with G2. I think he's a very smart person. Like, yes, he has his streams where he's just screaming and playing Nunu, but he also has so many cool pieces of content. And sometimes he's the face of the sponsor because the players are busy. Basil as well, when they went in 2024, she was the face of the like project that they had, the donation or like the fundraiser. Like it was her, not one of the players, but it's because she worked that entire year to become part of the FlyQuest culture. And so I think like, because teams have proved they are incompetent at picking good content creators, I almost have to say like that's not a way to go. Because like, what's the point of having Midbeast as a League of Legends content creator besides raising your views? Go ahead.
Very quickly before, because I think David has to go in a minute, but
I can push it off a little bit. It's fine.
Okay. Watch C9 next year for their content, because I know they're going to now with Dom fully on the roster. Watch him and APA every fucking week, and watch our views go up.
I mean,
Because look at our views.
I was just about to say
Like,
this.
look at our views, because we did like 4 episodes, I think, during Worlds. Like Dom and Meteos did like a podcast. I really don't want to see that again. If I'm being completely honest with you, I love Meteos, everything, but like, it's not.
Their
it's
dynamic
not-
was so weird during
Yeah.
that podcast.
Exactly. Like, but the views were still high because he had I Will Dominate on it, and we're gonna have that every whatever people think of APA, all eyes are gonna be on him whenever he talks. Like he I don't know what it is at now, but I know the last time I checked, the Pentakill tweet is at like 5k likes. Like he's going to bring eyes, and with C9 you're gonna have a lot of eyes on you anyways now. So I think we're in for a treat in terms of our content, like views going considerably up every week.
I was actually just about to say, I think what teams need to do besides content creators, which we talked about, is actually look at what Cloud9 is doing. Cloud9, sure they have Meteos, but you can do it. You can interchange with anyone basically. Like it's not because he's Meteos, you know. Just the amount of content every single week. You know, you're getting 3 videos every single week. You're getting your shorts. You're getting like the tweets. You're getting the players to stream. Like I was complaining that the players don't have like a YouTube channel where they can put their highlights on or something like that. But like they started with that thing, and you can see from the beginning of the year to the end of the year it's improved. So I think that would be my plea to orgs is like look at the Cloud9 content methodology and do it because it's doable.
They have consistent shorts. It's not like it's a weird it's a guide thing. Like in Valorant, that shit fucking kills. They get millions of views on Valorant because like you're doing like these weird like trendy like things, and like they've got like pretty good numbers. Like I know a couple of videos have done like I think one recently got like 1.2 million or something. But like for League, it doesn't really translate as well. I think with these weird it's just I don't know how to explain that these videos. You'll understand what I mean like if you go and watch it. It's just I wouldn't watch that and think that's Cloud9. That's my only problem with those videos.
I will just say one thing in chat. Like, yes, you need to put out content and it needs to be good quality, but you don't learn how to make quality content without putting out content. And that's something that Cloud9 has to go through. Where like if you just sit down and say, I'm gonna make the best video in the world, you're never gonna make anything and you're probably gonna be wrong. But actually learning and iterating is a process that you need to go through. Paul, do you have anything to add? I know we've kind of skirted around you for a while.
No, I do need to leave though. In about a minute,
Okay.
so-
We can
Sorry.
wrap up shortly. David, you have something to add?
The one thing I just want to add, you mentioned about how you think it's on like teams and Riot dropping the ball, and that's fine to have that view. The thing I would say from a creator front is that you need to be willing to do the things that other people aren't or are slacking on. Oh, I'm gonna wait until Riot revamps their LPP. Don't fucking wait. Do it now. Force their hand. It is easier to win an argument, to get what you want when you put yourself in a position of power and leverage to then be able to force somebody's hand. Like, oh, I want Riot to have events here in New York. You know what's a great way to do that? Show Riot that events can work here in New York. Then they feel like they have to. Sitting here and pleading, hey, give us something, and then there's nothing for me to latch onto to use as like a resume for that. Like, then I can't do shit. But then whenever we're packing out a venue of 300 people just because T1 is here, with no help beyond just like the venue and myself pushing it, like then all of a sudden you give Riot a reason to say, hey, yeah, maybe we should. And if they don't, they're still dropping the ball, fine. But I'm still going to keep pushing the fucking issue. Like that, like you have to, as a creator, or if there's something that you want in the space, force their hand.
Last thing I will say, just before we wrap up, because I do have him in the thumbnail and I didn't want to not say anything. Thank you, Jan Rez. And I know like David's already gave them their flowers so many times, but it's so nice now that we're going to have to start. People are actually going to start looking at NA content because we have 2 casters that are now going to be I really hope consistently doing videos because I was going to say
I'm not going to thank them until I see 6 months in.
But I've loved the Jet ones and they've been received very, very well so far. So fingers crossed he keeps that on throughout the year.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. There's not much I can say to follow that. Just any last shoutouts here? I'll start with you, Paul.
Really just go Shopify and Dave, how about them Gators? Good year from you guys. Good year. I just wanted to say that to you. I thought you guys did your best this year. You really showed
Aw.
us what's gonna happen when Lagway pops off.
A for effort.
I remember him saying, "What's it gonna be like when we win both football and basketball this year?" Crazy how that turned out.
Oh,
David, you're muted.
David's muted.
And we didn't get Lane Kiffin.
My bad. I'm not laughing. That's tragic. I'm sorry.
All right, any shout outs for us, David?
Nah, shout out to you guys for amazing content as always. If you guys haven't already subscribed to the LCS report, thank God it's called the LCS report and not the LTA report this year. Hopefully we can all start
Thank
growing
God
again
for
on
that.
YouTube and not have that dip from January to May that we all experienced. Thank Christ.
Arnie, got us some shout outs?
Just shout out David and Paul. Like, this is some of the most fun outside of like our regular like content that I like. This is like for me Christmas. Like I enjoy these because one, like we start at 8 and it goes for like fucking hours, and like I was planning for it to be half and half on like the saving their name. It actually went like an hour 40 just on rosters, and with us going back and forth on C9 and Shopify. So I'm gonna have a lot of fun editing that video to try and make them into two sections, like a C9 part and a Shopify part, with how like cross it was. But
The thumbnail should
didn't even
literally
get to
just
hear
be
the Andrew
monkeys.
Jackson joke at the beginning.
Thank goodness.
True.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness. I don't want to get banned. Please. Ganjik just got banned and unbanned, but I don't want that to happen. My shout out is going to be shout out to Basil. I actually have an interview coming out with her about content creation, about exactly what we talked about. Coming out tomorrow at noon. So shout out to her. And then I have to ask you, David, after seeing like the biggest bidding war that happened over the offseason was for Quid, but the second biggest was for you, and it seems like Team Liquid are winning the bid.
I have published my shortlist on Twitter. And the thing I will say that I've told Paul, and I think I've been very vocal on, I was planning on waiting until after the lock-in tournament to announce things. And if for some reason I do feel differently, I will announce it before then. But the one thing I just want to make clear to people, I will not pick my team until I've seen them play on the Rift, because there's a feeling of knowing when you are invested that you can only feel when they are on the Rift. And after they've won, after like you see how the reaction is. It's the reason why I didn't pick 100 Thieves right away after Optic left. So I appreciate from TL the push, and from Steve, obviously, like being willing to just lay it all on the line like that. I hope you're ready for Monday, Steve, because I will be responding to that video, and you ain't gonna fully like what I have to say, but that's part of me being me. I said fuck you, Nade Shot, publicly. I promise you, there's not a fuck you, Steve, coming in that video, but but like I will not be picking my team until I've seen them play on the Rift and have that feeling. So don't think that this determines anything.
All right, and that's it. Thank you guys, and we will see you next.
peace.